like a lyric, soft and meant to be heard. You were the static that swallowed every word. I came to you open, like a book in the rain, not knowing that passion was a cover for pain. I thought if I stayed quiet, the thunder would pass, but you can't keep a secret in a house made of glass. I watched my reflection turn into a ghost, trying to love the version of you I feared the most. I tried to be the silk that could soften the stone, but I ended up shivering and feeling alone. There's a ringing in the hallway that won't go away, the sound of the things that I'm too scared to say. Because soft hearts don't survive loud hands, they crumble like castles built on shifting sands. You don't have to hit to leave a permanent dent, with every door slammed and every hour spent in the shadow of a temper that's losing its mind, leaving the gentlest parts of me behind. I'm breaking in silence while the world understands that soft hearts don't survive loud hands. You'd reach for my shoulder, and I'd instinctively flinch, losing my territory inch by slow inch. You'd say you were tired, or just having a day, as you watched all the light in me flicker away. I was a garden and you were the frost, counting the petals and the beauty we lost. I'm tired of the sorries that taste like the copper of a heart that is falling with no one to stop her. I'm picking up the pieces of my porcelain soul, the parts that you shattered to keep your control. I'd rather be lonely and whole in the dark than stay here and wait for your very last spark to turn into a fire that swallows the room. I'm leaving the garden before it's a tomb. Because soft hearts don't survive loud hands, they crumble like castles built on shifting sands. You don't have to hit to leave a permanent tent, with every door slammed and every hour spent in the shadow of a temper that's losing its mind, leaving the gentlest parts of me behind. I'm breaking in silence while the world understands that soft hearts don't survive loud hands. The house is finally quiet, but I'm still hearing the roar. I'm taking my soft heart out through the door. It's bruised and it's heavy, but it's still beating, you see. And that's the one thing you couldn't take from me. I learned the rhythm of your heavy rhythmic step, and all the jagged secrets that the kitchen floorboards kept. I saw the storm clouds gathering behind your tired eyes, and I became a master of the soft and sweet disguise. I kept the house as quiet as a graveyard in the snow, hiding every feeling that I didn't want you to know. I was a shadow moving softly through the hallway light, trying to be the person who could keep your spirit right. My heart was screaming run while my face was frozen still. I was a prison to your ever-changing heavy will. I checked the mirror once, then I check it once again to make sure not a trace was left of where the hurt had been. And I smiled so you wouldn't yell at me tonight. I turned myself to water just to keep the firelight. I wore a mask of fine until the edges started tearing, while I was drowning in the silence of the cross that I was bearing. I traded in my truth for a hollow kind of peace, praying for the moment when the tension would release. Yeah, I smiled so the world wouldn't have to see us fall apart. You tell a joke that bit like ice and I just laugh along, pretending that the melody wasn't sounding all wrong. I'd say it's okay, honey, when you push me to the wall, making myself smaller so I wouldn't feel the fall. I was a curated collection of the things you like to see, until I couldn't find a single honest piece of me. I was so busy fixing every shadow on your face that I let you turn my spirit into such a lonely place. But a smile is just a bandage on a wound that's way too deep. And I'm tired of the secrets that I'm forced to have to keep. I'm dropping the curtain, I'm letting the mask finally slide. I'm done with the pretending in the places that I hide. If you wanna scream, then scream at the empty hollow air, because I'm taking my happy face and I'm getting out of there. To water just to keep the firelight. I wore a mask of fine until the edges started tearing, while I was drowning in the silence of the cross that I was bearing. I traded in my truth for a hollow kind of peace, praying for the moment when the tension would release. Yeah, I smiled so the world wouldn't have to see us fall apart. Look at me, not smiling anymore. I'm standing with my hand upon the handle of the door. The happy girl is gone, and she's never coming back. I'm walking out the light into the beautiful honest black. I'm sitting on the bathroom floor, the tile is pressing cold. counting up the stories that I never should have told. I'm checking for the redness, I'm checking for the sting, while I'm twisting on my finger the silver promise ring. You said that passion has a price, the fire leaves a mark, but I'm tired of being the only one who's fumbling in the dark. I thought that being chosen meant I'd finally be safe, but I'm just a little bird inside a golden heavy cage. I watch my mother's eyes, I watch the way she'd hide the secrets of a woman with a broken sense of pride. And I swore I'd never be the girl who makes a quiet plea, but here I am, just shaking with the ghost of who I used to be. Because love shouldn't hurt like this, it shouldn't feel like war. I shouldn't have to wonder what I'm staying for. It shouldn't be a mountain that I'm forced to climb in bare feet, or a bitter jagged medicine disguised as something sweet. If it's us against the world, then why am I the one who bleeds? Sowing all the sorrow while you're planting all the seeds. Oh, love shouldn't hurt like this. No, it shouldn't hurt it. You're sleeping in the other room, the picture of a saint, while I'm scrubbing at the edges of this thick and heavy pain. I'm covering the shadows that your temper left behind, trying to find the I love you that I'm certain I can find. But a heart is not a punching bag, a soul is not a shield, and I'm weary of the battle on this lonely hollow field. You say you're only human, that you got a heavy soul, but your love is just a story of a loss of all control. They say that love is patient, they say that love is kind, but yours is like a fever that is making me go blind. I'd rather be alone in a house that's cold and still than be a broken witness to your ever-changing will. I'm picking up my keys now, I'm walking toward the light. I'm tired of being the tragedy in the middle of the night. Because love shouldn't hurt like this, it shouldn't feel like war. I shouldn't have to wonder what I'm staying for. It shouldn't be a mountain that I'm forced to climb in bare feet, or a bitter jagged medicine that's disguised as something sweet. If it's us against the world, then why am I the one who bleeds? Sowing all the sorrow while you're planting all the seeds. Oh, love shouldn't hurt like this. No, it shouldn't hurt at all. It shouldn't hurt. It should be the place I go when the world is getting loud. It should be the silver lining, not the heavy blackest cloud. I'm leaving the bruises, I'm keeping my heart. This is the end, and my brand new start. Yeah, it shouldn't hurt. The suitcase is sitting like a stranger by the bed, filling up with all the things I never should have said. I'm folding up the sweaters, I'm folding up the fear, wiping off the makeup and the traces of a tear. For years I was a mirror, just reflecting back your light, disappearing slowly in the middle of the night. But I looked into the glass and I didn't know the face of the girl who gave up everything to keep you in this place. I spent a lifetime being us and being yours, while I was quietly dying behind all these closed doors. I was waiting for a version of you that never came, until I realized I was the one who had to change the game. Oh, the night I chose myself was the coldest one of all. I had to let the pillars of my world begin to fall. I had to break my own heart said goodbye. You're sleeping in the silence, so peaceful and so blind, to the revolution happening inside my tired mind. I'm leaving you the house and I'm leaving you the keys. I'm leaving all the times I spent down upon my knees. I used to think that leaving was a failure and a sin, but staying was the only way I'd never truly win. I'm walking toward a morning where I don't have to hide the beautiful and broken things I'm carrying inside. It's a lonely kind of freedom, it's a heavy kind of grace to realize I'm the only one who take me from this place. I'm not running from a fire, I'm not running from a ghost. I'm running toward the person that I think I need the most. And for the first time in a decade I can finally feel the air without wondering if you're gonna tell me it's not there. Oh, the night I chose myself was the coldest one of all. I had to let the pillars of my world begin to fall. I had to break my own heart just to save my own soul and give up the lie that you could ever make me whole. It wasn't that I stopped loving you, I stopped wanting to try. I just finally heard the sound of my own quiet cry. Yeah, the night I chose myself was the night I said goodbye. The engine's running, the road is long. I'm finally singing my own song. I'm sorry, and I'm not. I'm taking the only chance I've got. I chose me. I walked into a coffee shop at 9:30 and watched a couple laughing, doing just fine. He reached for her hand and she didn't recoil. She didn't look down at the floor or the soil, and it hit me like a physical sudden blow that I've been living in a house where the shadows grow. I've been braced for the impact for so many years that I've forgotten how to breathe through the static and fears. My shoulders are up to my ears in my sleep, guarding the secrets I'm forced to have to keep. I'm a soldier who's forgotten that the war is done, still hiding in the trenches from a setting sun. Because I forgot what peace felt like. I forgot the sound of a heart that isn't racing when there's no one around. I mistook the quiet for the calm before the storm. I didn't know that safety was supposed to feel warm. I've been living on a wire, I've been dancing on a blade, counting up the heavy hollow price that I've paid. Oh, I forgot what peace felt like until I saw it in a stranger's face. I'm sitting on my porch and the wind is so still, but I'm waiting for the sorry or the change in your will. I'm checking the windows and I'm checking the locks, like a bird that's been living in a thunderous box. You say that you love me, but your love is a noise that rattles the windows and breaks all my joys. I've spent so much time trying to keep you from the edge that I'm the one standing on the very last ledge. Is it a hum or is it a song? I haven't heard a melody in way too long. Just the thump of my heart and the click of the gate and the heavy dark anchor of a love turned to fate. I wanna remember how it feels to be alive, to not have to win every single lonely fight. night. The stars, they're just stars. I'm letting my hands drop to my sides. I'm letting the tide go out. Peace, I think I'm starting to remember. Heard the whispers in the hallway, saw the pity in their eyes. Like I was just a victim of my own self-chosen lies. They wonder why I stayed so long, why I didn't just walk out. As if the exit sign was something I could easily shout. But they don't know the way you map the exits of my mind, or how you use my kindness just to keep me deaf and blind. I wasn't standing still because I didn't wanna run. I was standing in the shadows of a loaded heavy gun. It wasn't that I lacked the spine or the heart to fight the war. It's that you'd already taken every key to every door. You made the world outside feel like a cold and hungry ghost, until I clung to the very hand that hurt me the most. I wasn't weak, I was just trapped in a cage of maybe, locked in a cycle of I'm sorry and please baby. I wasn't a coward for the silences I kept, or the 1,000 lonely hours that I stayed awake and wept. It takes a different kind of strength to breathe inside a tomb, to find a way to survive inside a dark and crowded room. So don't you dare tell me that I didn't have the will. I wasn't weak, I was just standing very still. You didn't need a padlock or a heavy iron chain. You used the weather of your moods and the falling of the rain. You made me think the ground beneath my feet would surely break if I didn't cater to every single breath you take. I was a strategist of safety, a scholar of your tone, learning how to navigate the kingdom of your throne. Survival isn't easy when the air is getting thin, and you're losing every battle before you even begin. You call it giving up, I call it saving what was left of a spirit that was fading from a slow and steady theft. I had to wait for the moment when the light was just enough to see through all the hollow and the heavy jagged bluff. It took more power to leave than it ever did to stay, to finally find the courage to just turn and walk away. I'm strong, I've always been standing in the hallway where the shadows like to pool, trying not to feel like a coward or a fool. Your breathing is a rhythm, steady in the dark. practiced this departure 1,000 times before, but I always ended up with my hand upon the door, afraid that if I spoke I'd let the armor finally crack, and you'd find the perfect words to pull me sliding back. So I'm moving like a ghost through the house we used to own, tiptoeing past the memories that I've turned to heavy stone. I'm leaving you the silence that you always seem to crave, and the ghost of every promise that I couldn't find to save. I'm leaving without making a sound, without a single footstep hitting the ground. No slamming of the door, no shouting in the street, just a slow and steady rhythm of a heart in full retreat. If I tell you that I'm going, I know I'll never leave. I'll just fall into the pattern of the web we like to weave. So I'm fading like the moonlight at the breaking of the day, leaving without a word, just to get away. Keys on the counter by the half-empty glass, watching all the minutes and the heavy hours pass. I didn't write a letter, I didn't leave a note. There's a lump of jagged glass sitting in my throat. You wake up to a kitchen that is cold and far too still, and you'll wonder if I left you of my own and heavy will. But the truth is in the closet, where the empty hangers swing, and the quiet hollow echo of a silver promise ring. They say that goodbye is the hardest part to say, but for me, it's the staying that's been wasting me away. I'm not running from a fire, I'm not running from a ghost, I'm just running from the version of myself I hate the most. I'm trading in the static for a different kind of air, where I don't have to wonder if I'm even really there. I'm leaving without making a sound, without a single footstep hitting the ground. No slamming of the door, no shouting in the street, just a slow and steady rhythm of a heart in full retreat. If I tell you that I'm going, I know I'll never leave. I'll just fall into the pattern of the web we like to weave. So I'm fading like the moonlight at the breaking of the day, leaving without a word, just to get away. Gate is closed, the secret is exposed. You're still sleeping, and I'm already gone into the grave and the honest dawn. No sound, no sound at all. I used to keep a suitcase packed beneath the bed and filter every single thought before before it could be said. I'd watch the doorway for the shadow of your mood, starving for a kindness that felt like stolen food. I thought that loving meant I had to hold my breath, like every small disagreement was a little kind of death. But the house is quiet now, the air is finally still, and I'm sitting by the window on my own free will. My heart is like a soldier coming home from the front, no longer bracing for the sharp and heavy blunt. I'm unlearning the armor, I'm dropping the shield, looking at the flowers in a different kind of field, because I'm learning how to love without the fear that the sky is gonna fall every time you're near. I'm learning that a voice doesn't have to be a roar, and I don't have to hide behind a double-bolted door. It's a strange kind of magic, it's a terrifying grace to look into the mirror and finally know my face. Yeah, I'm healing from the breaking, I'm finding my way out, learning what a heart is really all about. I met someone who listens when I speak my mind, who doesn't use my secrets just to keep me in a bind. When I drop a glass, I don't wait for the scream, I don't wake up shaking from a recurring dream. It's the little things that kill me, the way he holds the light without making me feel like I have to win the night. I'm a nervous kind of happy, a fragile kind of brave, realizing there's a soul that I don't have to save. For so long I was a shadow, for so long I was a ghost, haunting all the places that I used to hurt the most. But the bruises are just memories, the scars are just a map of how I finally crawled out of the heavy golden trap. It's okay to be tender, it's okay to be seen, without a jagged wall of sorry standing in between. Because I'm learning how to love without the fear that the sky is gonna fall every time you're near. I'm learning that a voice doesn't have to be a roar, and I don't have to hide behind a double-bolted door. It's a strange kind of magic, it's a terrifying grace to look into the mirror and finally know my face. Yeah, I'm healing from the breaking, I'm finding my way out, learning what a heart is really all about. One day at a time, static's clearing out, I'm finding what forever is supposed to be about. No more flinching, no more hiding in the dark. I'm finally the keeper of my own little spark. I'm not afraid. I thought by Tuesday I'd be standing on my own, that I'd have scrubbed the scent to you from everything I own. I threw the postcards in the fire, watched the edges turn to gray, and told my reflection I was doing just fine today. But then I saw a red Ford truck turn down onto our street, and And suddenly the pavement felt like water beneath my feet. I'm back in the kitchen, I'm back in the dark, trying to find a light from a cold and dead-end spark. It's a mountain, not a staircase, and the air's getting thin. I take 2 steps forward just to let the winter in. I'm impatient with the grieving, I'm angry at the time, like letting go of us is some kind of heavy crime. Because healing doesn't happen all at once, it's a slow and steady leak. It's finding a new language when you're far too tired to speak. It's 3 days of sunshine followed by a month of rain. It's learning how to live beside the shadow of the pain. One morning I'm a giant, the next I'm just a ghost, trying to survive the things I used to love the most. No, it's not a finish line, it's a jagged, broken run. Healing doesn't happen just because the day is done. I went to dinner with some friends and I actually laughed out loud. For a second I was drifting on a different kind of cloud. But then the waiter brought the check and I reached for where you'd be. And the hollow in the chair felt like a heavy rising sea. You don't just wake up one day and find the colors all returned. You have to walk through every inch of forest that was burned. You have to touch the ashes and you have to feel the cold before you find the strength to let the newer story be told. Be patient with the breaking, be gentle with the scars. They're just the way the light gets in from all the distant stars. It's okay to be a mess, it's okay to feel the sting of every I remember and every used to be thing. The clock isn't the enemy, it's just a steady hand leading you across a strange and lonely quiet land. Because healing doesn't happen all at once, it's a slow and steady leak. It's finding a new language when you're far too tired to speak. It's 3 days of sunshine followed by a month of rain. It's learning how to live beside the shadow of the pain. One morning I'm a giant, the next I'm just a ghost, trying to survive the things I used to love the most. No, it's not a finish line, it's a jagged, broken run. Healing doesn't happen just because the day is done. One breath, then another. Maybe tomorrow I'll find a little cover. It's a long road, but I'm walking it alone, and I'm finally making this new skin my own. It's happening door slams out in the driveway lane, and I don't feel that sudden, sharp electric pain. The keys are jingling against the wooden door, but I'm not scanning for the shadows on the floor. I used to be a bird with a hollow, frantic chest, always waiting for the storm to put my soul to the test. I'd hold my breath until the air turned thin and blue, just trying to predict the heavy weather of you. I spent 1,000 nights living in a state of if, walking every hallway like a jagged narrow cliff. But the silence in this kitchen is a different kind of deep. It's a promise that the ghosts are finally asleep. Because I no longer flinch when the lights go out. I'm not searching for the hidden meaning in a shout. I don't pull my shoulders up to guard my fragile heart, waiting for the moment that you'll tear my world apart. It's a quiet kind of victory, a slow and steady grace, to finally feel at home inside my own lonely space. Yeah, the fever's finally broken, the static's finally clear. I no longer flinch now that you're not here. I dropped a coffee mug and watched it hit the tile, and I didn't have to hide for a long and bitter while. I didn't start an apology before the pieces hit the ground. I just stood there in the beauty of a simple, honest sound. No one called me careless, no one called me clumsy or blind. The only voice I heard was the one inside my mind, and it told me it was okay. It was just a broken cup, and I didn't have to tremble as I picked the pieces up. It's the absence of the tension, it's the lack of the weight of wondering if I'm early or I'm 5 minutes late. I'm unlearning the armor, I'm dropping the steel, remembering how a human is supposed to actually feel. I'm not a target anymore, I'm not a vessel for your shame. I'm just a person with a quiet steadiness. Because I no longer flinch when the lights go out. I'm not searching for the hidden meaning in a shout. I don't pull my shoulders up to guard my fragile heart, waiting for the moment that you'll tear my world apart. It's a quiet kind of victory, a slow and steady grace, to finally feel at home inside my own lonely space. Yeah, the fever's finally broken, the static's finally clear. I no longer flinch now that you're not here. The wind is blowing and the curtains stay still. I'm sitting on the porch of my own free will. No more shaking, no more hiding in the dark. I'm finally the keeper of my own little spark. I'm safe. I used to flinch before you even spoke, waiting for the punchline of a cruel and heavy joke. You call me from the kitchen with that sharp metallic edge, and I find myself standing on a thin and narrow ledge. I associated me with a mistake I had to fix, with 1,000 different moods and 100 dirty tricks. I shrank until my identity was just a quiet plea, trying to be the version of the girl you wanted me to be. The air in this apartment doesn't vibrate with the fear of a storm cloud moving in every time that you are near. I'm reclaiming the syllables miles, I'm taking back the sound of the person that I buried deep beneath the jagged ground. And my name sounds kinder now that you're not saying it. The weight of all your anger, I'm finally weighing it. It doesn't sound like a warning or a debt I have to pay. It doesn't sound like a reason for you to look the other way. I'm hearing it in whispers, I'm hearing it in song, realizing that the broken wasn't mine all along. Yeah, my name sounds kinder now that it's finally mine again. It felt like it was mine. No one followed, it was sorry, or what did you do now? No one used it like a hammer just to make me take a bow. I'm meeting people lately who don't know the ghost of us, who don't see the tiny tremors or the way I used to fuss. They say like a greeting, like a gift I'm allowed to keep, and I'm finally finding rest in the middle of my sleep. It's a 5-letter mercy, a 2-syllable grace, and I feel like a target in a cold and lonely place. I'm washing off the bitterness, I'm scrubbing off the shame of every time you use it just to signify your blame. I'm singing it to the mirror, I'm shouting it to the stars, and it doesn't feel like salt inside 1,000 open scars. For not saying it, the weight of all your anger, I'm finally weighing it. It doesn't sound like a warning or a debt I have to pay. It doesn't sound like a reason for you to look the other way. I'm hearing it in whispers, I'm hearing it in song, realizing that the broken wasn't mine all along. Yeah, my name sounds kinder now that it's finally mine again. Say it one more time, just to hear the sweetness of it. No more flinching, no more hiding from the grip. It's a beautiful sound. Yeah, it's a beautiful sound. My name. I spent 1,000 nights rehearsing every word, changing my frequency so I could be heard. I thought I was a puzzle with the pieces cut wrong, too loud, too quiet, or a dissonant song. You told me I was heavy, told me I was much, that I carried a winner in the center of my touch. I believed the narrative, I wore it like a chain, thinking I was the reason for the falling of the rain. I apologize for breathing, I apologize for light, for having a shadow in the middle of the night. I shrank my spirit down to fit into your hand, like a tiny shifting grain of disappearing sand. But I am not hard to love. I was just loved by the wrong heart, by someone who didn't know how to keep a fire from the dark. I'm not a labyrinth, I'm not a broken machine, I'm not a tragedy that's hiding in between. It wasn't my complexity or the depth of my soul, it was the way you used my heart to keep your own control. Trust. I met someone who thinks my silence is a grace, who doesn't see a project when they look at my face. When I'm feeling weary or I'm reaching for the moon, they don't tell me I'm singing out of a different tune. I realize the difficulty you always used to claim apologize for being me anymore. It's a revelation, it's a terrifying truth to realize I wasted all the beauty of my youth, thinking I was difficult, thinking I was vile, just because I couldn't force a hollow, empty smile. I'm a masterpiece of plenty, I'm a vessel of the light, and I'm finally standing tall in the middle of the night. If your hands are kind, I'm easy to love. If you've got a peaceful mind, I'm not the problem. No, I never was. I'm just me. I used to wake up counting the seconds on the clock, waiting for the sudden turning of the heavy lock. I check the hallway for the shadow of your stride, looking for a corner where a broken heart could hide. I thought that love was just a storm you had to brave, that being happy meant being someone's quiet slave. But I walked into the kitchen at 7:15, and the silence in the room felt like a little piece of heaven. No one's slamming cabinets or cursing at the rain, no one's using sorry as a bandage for the pain. I'm sitting with my coffee and a book I wanna read, realizing that a peaceful life is all I really need. Because gentle days are real, they're not a fairy tale. I'm finally stepping out from underneath your heavy veil. I'm learning that a sunset doesn't have to be a threat, and a simple conversation doesn't have to be a dead. It's a quiet kind of magic, it's a steady kind of light, to not have to defend myself in the middle of the night. Yeah, the fever's finally broken, the static's finally clear. Gentle days are real, and they're finally here. Spent a decade dancing on the jagged, broken glass, waiting for the winter and the bitter cold to pass. I forgot that voices could be soft and could be kind. I forgot that I was more than just a body and a mind. Now I meet a friend for dinner and I actually feel the sun. I don't have to check my phone to see if I'm the guilty one. I'm unlearning the armor, I'm dropping all the steel, remembering how a human is supposed to actually feel. It's the absence of the tension, it's the lack of the weight of wondering if I'm early or I'm 5 minutes late. It's the beauty of the nothing when the lights go down at 10, and knowing that the morning won't be war all over again. I'm a garden in the springtime, I'm a bird without a cage, finally finding courage on a clean and empty page. I'm standing in the hallway of the house we used to own, but the air feels different now that I'm alone. I'm looking at the mirrors that I used to try to avoid, at the girl that your anger nearly destroyed. I see a little light beginning to flicker in her eyes, a quiet revolution, a beautiful surprise. She's not the shadow that you left behind in the hall. She's finally learned how to stand after the fall. I'm unlearning the silence, I'm dropping the shield, looking for the colors in a long forgotten field. I'm clearing out the boxes of the sorry and the shame, and I'm starting to remember the power in my name. Oh, I'm falling in love with the girl I'm becoming, the one who stopped hiding, the one who stopped running. She doesn't flinch when the front door slams shut. She's healing the bruises and the deep, heavy cut. She's not a project, she's not a mistake. She's a masterpiece made from a slow motion break. Yeah, yeah, you wouldn't know her. She's finally free. I'm becoming the girl that I was meant to be. She bought some new flowers and she painted the wall. She doesn't wait for permission, kind of call. She laughs a little louder than you ever would allow, and she doesn't feel the need to take a quiet, humble bow. She's rediscovering the music that she used to love to play before you turned her melodies to a heavy shade of gray. She's a nervous kind of brave, a fragile kind of strong, realizing that she was never the one who was wrong. It's a different kind of heartbeat, a different kind of breath, a beautiful awakening from a slow and steady death. I'm giving her the grace that you never could provide, and I'm letting her lead with a little bit of pride. She's a kite in the wind, she's a bird on the wing, she's the brightest note that the morning can sing. She breathes, the way she finally truly believes I'm not the ghost of who I was with you. I'm something better, I'm something new. I'm me. I'm me. out the oxygen in the room, watching the shadows grow into a heavy kind of gloom. I didn't notice how my chest had turned to tight in stone, or how I'd learned to shiver even when I was alone. I was a swimmer reaching for a surface made of lead, drowning in the echoes of the things you never said. But I woke up this morning and the air was strange and sweet, and for the first time in a decade I didn't feel defeat. The weight on my shoulders didn't leave with a roar, it just drifted like dust through the cracks in the door. I'm unlearning the habit of holding my breath, escaping the cycle of a slow motion death. Because freedom feels like breathing again, like the cooling of the fever, like the ending of the rain. It's not a celebration, it's a quiet kind of grace, to finally feel the sunlight on a long forgotten face. I'm filling up my lungs with the honest open air, without looking for a reason why it shouldn't be there. Oh, the sky is finally open, the static's finally thin. Freedom feels like breathing, letting the world back in. I walked to the park and I didn't check the time. I didn't feel the phantom guilt of some imaginary crime. I didn't have to wonder if my laughter was too loud, or if my simple presence was a heavy, darkest cloud. I'm rediscovering the rhythm of a heart that isn't scared of being misunderstood or being completely unprepared. It's a terrifying mercy, it's a beautiful release, to trade the war for a long and hollow peace. My ribs are expanding, my spirit is wide. There's no more room for the secrets I hide. I'm not a hostage to your ever-changing mood. I'm not surviving on your scraps of gratitude. I'm a kite in the wind, I'm a bird on the wing. I'm the quietest note that the morning can sing. Because freedom feels like breathing again, like the cooling of the fever, like the ending of the rain. It's not a celebration, it's a quiet kind of grace, to finally feel the sunlight on a long forgotten face. I'm filling up my lungs with the honest open air, without looking for a reason why it shouldn't be there. Oh, the sky is finally open, the static's finally thin. Freedom feels like breathing, letting the world back in. Letting the world back in. Inhale, exhale. The ghost is gone and I'm still here. The air is cold, but the sky is clear. I'm breathing, I'm finally breathing. I used to measure my heartbeat by the look inside your eyes. I lived on every crumb of hope and all your hollow lies. I thought that being lonely was just a price I had to pay, to keep the shadow of your ghost from drifting far away. I was a mirror in the cold, reflecting only you, doing every desperate thing a breaking heart can do. I didn't know that love wasn't supposed to feel like death, or a constant heavy cycle of forgiving and forget. I didn't have a floor beneath my feet back then. I just let you break me down and build me up again. I loved you before I learned to love myself. I put my own survival on a dusty, broken shelf. I thought your touch was oxygen. I thought your word was a law. I was blinded to the jagged edge of every single flaw. It's a different kind of morning. It's a different kind of hurt to realize I was worshiping the dust upon your shirt. Yeah, I loved you before I learned what I was worth. Now I'm standing in the kitchen and the silence feels like grace. I'm looking in the mirror at a long forgotten face. I don't need your validation just to get me through the night. I don't need to check the weather in your eyes to see the light. You call me cold and distant. You say that I've grown hard, but I'm just busy planting flowers in my own backyard. I'm not sorry that I loved you, but I'm sorry for the girl who thought you were the center of a cold and spinning world, who shrank herself to fit inside the spaces you provided, until her soul was fractured and her spirit was divided. I'm finally standing tall now, and the view is pretty clear. The only thing I'm missing is the constant quiet fear. I used to check the weather in the way you moved your chair. boarded tight, waiting for the heavy storm to break into the night. I thought that being guarded meant I had to keep you pleased, that love was just a symptom of a long and dark disease. But I'm sitting in the silence of a Tuesday afternoon, and for the first time in a decade I'm not waiting for the doom. The locks on the door aren't there to keep you out, they're there to keep the peace and to silence every doubt. I'm unlearning the flinch and I'm dropping the shield, looking at the harvest in a long forgotten field. Because I'm finally safe in my own heart tonight. I don't have to win every single lonely fight. It's a quiet kind of mercy, it's a steady kind of grace to not feel like a target in my own lonely space. I'm the keeper of the keys, I'm the owner of the light, and I'm not gonna tremble in the middle of the night. Oh, the fever's finally broken, the static's finally clear. I'm safe in my own heart now that you're not here. I bought the kind of bread that you always used to hate. I didn't check the clock to see if I was running late. I played a song you called annoying on the radio, and I let the melody and the heavy rhythm go. There's no one here to tell me that I'm too much or I'm wrong. There's no one here to interrupt my simple quiet song. I'm rediscovering the girl that I was before the frost, counting up the pieces and the beauty that we lost. It's not a lonely feeling, it's a beautiful release, to trade the constant war for a hollow, honest peace. I'm breathing in the oxygen that's finally just mine, without wondering if I'm crossing some imaginary line. I'm a garden in the springtime, I'm a bird without a cage, finally finding courage on a clean and empty page. Because I'm finally safe in my own heart tonight. I don't have to win every single lonely fight. It's a quiet kind of mercy, it's a steady kind of grace to not feel like a target in my own lonely space. I'm the keeper of the keys, I'm the owner of the light, and I'm not gonna tremble in the middle of the night. Oh, the fever's finally broken, the static's finally clear. I'm safe in my own heart now that you're not here. The house is still, but it's not cold. The newest story's being told. No more shaking, no more hiding in the dark. I'm finally the keeper of my own little spark. I'm safe You brought me roses with a side of jagged glass, waiting for the thunder and the lightning storm to pass. You'd say you're sorry while the room was still in spins, mapping out the penance for your ever-growing sins. I used to think that honey was a bandage for the sting, but I was just a bird with a tether on my wing. I watch you cry and think that meant you finally saw the light, but the morning always tasted like the static of the night. You had a way of kneeling that felt like a demand, holding out a white flag with a heavy, trembling hand. I mistook your chaos for a deep and desperate soul, but you were just a fire that I couldn't keep control. Your apologies came with bruises, your sorry left a mark, a trail of broken promises like splinters in the dark. I was tracing every blue line and calling it a sign that if I stayed a little longer, you'd finally align. But you can't heal a spirit with the hands that tore the seam, and I'm waking up exhausted from a nightmare of a dream. Yeah, your apologies came with bruises, and I'm tired of the scar. I remember how you'd whisper when the house was getting cold, the same old story that was getting gray and old. I didn't mean to say it, I didn't mean to shout while you were busy pulling all my certainties out. I was a canvas for your anger, a vessel for your shame, and you'd sign it with a kiss me in the shadow of my name. I traded in my safety for a moment of your grace, but I'm looking at the damage in the mirror at my face. Flowers don't fix a foundation that's cracked, and I love you as a weapon when it's used to distract. I'm done being the ocean for your every crashing wave. I'm done being the secret that you promised you would save. I'm taking back the colors that you turned to black and blue. I'm finally finding mercy, but it's not for you. Tore the seam, and I'm waking up exhausted from a nightmare of a dream. Yeah, your apologies came with bruises, and I'm tired of the scar. Keep your roses, I'll keep my peace. The silence in this hallway is a beautiful release. No more sorries, no more pleases. I'm walking toward a summer where the hurting finally ceases. Yeah, the bruises are fading, and so are you. door clicks, and I hold my breath in the dark, searching for the temperature, looking for a spark. Is it a night for laughter or a night to hide away? I'm checking for the shadows in every word you say. I've memorized the rhythm of your footsteps on the floor, and I'm already apologizing before you're through the door. I'm a master of the silence, a ghost inside the hall, keeping every heavy thought pinned against the wall. I've learned to shrink my spirit just to give you extra room, but a heart that's always hiding is a heart inside a tomb. Oh, the way you walked on eggshells just to keep you from the floor. I was dancing on the jagged glass and asking you for more. I tiptoed through the minefield of your ever-changing mood, feeding on the tiny scraps of fleeting gratitude. My feet are cut and bleeding from the paths I had to take, just to keep the fragile peace from a sudden heavy break. Yeah, the way I walked on eggshells was the biggest mistake I could make. I stopped wearing the colors that you said you didn't like. I learned to keep my opinions tucked behind a mental spike. I was a weather vane spinning in your unpredictable wind, losing every battle before the us began to thin. It's exhausting being careful, it's a lonely way to live when you're the only one with something left to give. But today I'm wearing heavy boots and I'm walking out the gate. I'm tired of the tiptoeing and I'm tired of the way you let the shells all shatter, let the silence finally crack. I'm making so much noise and I'm never looking back. Hear the sound of my footsteps, they're heavy and they're loud. I'm finally stepping out from underneath your cloud. Just to keep you from the floor. I was dancing on the jagged glass and asking you for more. I tiptoed through the minefield of your ever-changing mood, feeding on the tiny scraps of fleeting gratitude. My feet are cut and bleeding from the paths I had to take, just to keep the fragile peace from sudden heavy break. Yeah, the way I walked on eggshells was the biggest mistake I could make. I'm stomping now, can you hear it? The sound of a soul that's finally free. No more whispers, no more hiding me. The eggshells are dust, and I'm just stone. I learned the music of the kitchen floor, which boards to miss and how to close the door. I read the air before I took a seat to see if love was cold or tasting sweet. I tucked my stories in a velvet box and turned the key on 1,000 heavy locks, because a question was a spark inside a room, and I was tired of the fire and the gloom. I watched the clock and I watched your eyes, searching for the clouds in your silence was safer than telling the truth. It was the only way to save a piece of my youth. I lived in the quiet to keep from the storm, changing my shape just to help you feel warm. I swallowed the sorry and I swallowed the stay, just to make sure that you didn't drift away. Oh, I built a prison out of nevermind, leaving the honest parts of